I've known for many, many years, yes. And yet still, when it comes time, the crunch time, I hesitate. And we're sorry about that. But really, I think what we'd like to talk about today is something that all three of us, three of you and myself, have been involved with over the many, many years. And Pastor Walker, especially you, I think that we've depended upon you primarily to contact many individuals to bring them to this show. And so in a real sense, let's start off with you by having you to take a couple of minutes to give us some information about your background, your education, and some of your experiences. Then we'll allow Reverend Waller to do the same in reference to his background, education, and experience. And finally, we'll come to Bishop Campbell, and we'll allow him to sort of close us out on that first 6-minute segment. And then we'll come back, and in that 8-minute segment, we'll start with Bishop Campbell, and then come on back around and do it like that. And I think that that will be quite instructive in terms of what we're trying to do. Let's start off with you, Pastor Walker.
Well, I'm Pastor Kelvin L. Walker. I'm the senior servant of the Hands of God Christian Church located out here at 1545 11th Avenue North. And Dr. Haney, we've done quite a few shows together, and I'm always excited and delighted to be in your presence and to be able to bring, individuals on your show that I know have some good information and knowledge as well. I'm a native Nashvilleian. I attended the public school systems here in Tennessee, here in Nashville, up until a point where I got put out. I got put out of, excuse me, I got put out of all of the Davidson County public schools, and I was not able to attend any schools in the city when I hit the 10th grade. Fortunately for me, I had gotten in some trouble as well and faced some time in juvenile, and the juvenile court judge, Richard Jenkins at the time, thought it would be best if I went into the military than it would if I went in and became incarcerated. I had shot an individual when I was 15 years old, and I went into the Navy. Stayed in the Navy about 19 months, long enough to get my foot wet, ride the ship overseas and stuff like that. Got out of the Navy, and at that time, you could go in the military without a GED, got out, or high school diploma, got out, went through Opportunities Industrialization Center, OIC, when I was in South Nashville, got a GED, spent a little time at Tennessee State University, but all during that time, Dr. Haney, even prior to going in, I was always experiencing with drugs and stuff, and actually was addicted to drugs, even when I was in college. I was shooting heroin and stuff like that. And of course, that eventually derailed my attempts at a college degree, wanted to become a fashion designer, and that derailed that. And of course, I ended up incarcerated in the state prison system, did a total of 5 years of my life incarcerated. And in August of 1986, August 24th, 1986, God stepped into my life, intervened in a powerful way, called me into ministry, called me away from a 17-plus-year drug addiction directly into ministry, and I've been serving him ever since.
But Reverend Waller, talk about yourself for a minute.
Dr. Haney, I want to thank you for allowing me to be here. I am really grateful, man. I came from the streets which I grew up at in West Nashville on 40th. As a little boy growing up, I loved the basketball. And in the midst of loving the basketball, out in the yard playing by myself, I got captured by the street life. And in the midst of all of that, I got incarcerated in street life for 20-plus years of my life without being behind bars. Captured in my own community by a chemical that controlled my life for so many years. I went to Cone High School, and a lot of people thought I was going to become a great basketball player, but I didn't even know who I was. I was so out of control. But again, as Pastor Kelvin Walker invited me, as he shared on how he was released from the bondage, and now I've been delivered myself for 24-plus years. And it's amazing that there's so many people that are still doing the same thing that we used to do. And I'm just grateful to be here to make a difference.
Now, Bishop Campbell, we have a minute for you to sort of make some statements, and then we'll come back to you during the second segment and start with you. But say who you are over the last minute that we have here.
Yes.
Bishop Campbell, and then we'll come back to you.
I also want to thank you, Dr. Haney, for allowing me to be here. My name is Bishop Marcus Campbell. I'm the pastor of the Mount Carmel Missionary Baptist Church located at 1032 Monroe Street, and founder and CEO of the Gentleman and Not Gangster Juvenile Mentoring Program that we have here in Nashville, Tennessee.
And so quite a bit has been done in reference to that particular program, and I think that the three of you bring some excellent information in reference to how we might be able to deal with some of the challenges that are facing our young people today. And so we're going to take our first commercial break, and we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. information for the next 4 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes, you know, just lay down some information dealing with this particular issue. Then you follow him and take about 2 or 3 minutes of that, and then we'll let you sort of wrap this second segment out for today, and then we'll come back and we'll go back down and we'll have 10 minutes to sort of bring all of this information together. But the information I think that we're getting today is very, very important information, because I think this, and that's why we like to do this background information, just to indicate that no matter what a man's situation might be today, that it was not always like that, you see, and I think that's an encouragement, and you ought to hear my story.
Oh my! Listen,
you ought to hear my story. I was a military brat in a real sense, with my father overseas, and he was an Air Force person and whatever. And my family, my mother and everybody was there, and I was 18 years old in Paris, France.
Running wild.
Running wild.
Young man.
Running wild.
Yes, sir.
And so God
Paris.
saved me too. We've
Right.
all got those stories.
Oh, yeah.
I think that when we own up to them, then we can move forward.
Absolutely.
That's right.
That's so true.
That's right.
And so when we come back, Bishop, we'll start with you, and then Waller, and then on down. And this will be our 8-minute segment.
All right.
Is this the 8-minute segment? Yeah, this is the 8-minute segment. Right?
That's all right.
Thank you, and welcome back to the second segment of the show for today. The topic is the dilemma of the African-American male, and we're fortunate to have with us Pastor KWalker, Reverend Waller, and Bishop Campbell. And of course, Bishop Campbell, I think the end of the first segment, we got a little information from you, but what I'd like for you to do during the second segment is to take some time to talk about some of the challenges that you think that our young people are facing, and how you would like to see some of these things resolved. And then Reverend Waller will have an opportunity, and then Pastor Walker, and we'll be able to sort of cover the 8 minutes of this particular segment.
Yes, sir. Dr. Haney, dealing with the organization that we have, Gentlemen and Not Gangsters, dealing with the juveniles that do come through the program, one thing that we do notice is that we have an economic dilemma. Not only that, we have an educational dilemma, and we have a personal dilemma. The economic dilemma is that mom and daddy might be incarcerated or have been incarcerated. It's hard for them to get a job and provide for their family with those felonies on their background. Juveniles are not able to have any employment because of their age, or they're just not jobs that's willing to give them a chance or to try them out. When we look at the economics, most in the black community, not many of them is making more than minimum wage because of the educational background of where they don't have a great education. When we look at a lot of schools in our black community, especially here in Nashville, their test scores are so much lower than schools that are outside of the demographic of where we live at in the poverty places in Nashville that we are. And the personal issue that I see is that because of the parents and what they are accustomed to, what they have been taught, what they have gone through in their lives, they're teaching their kids the same thing. So they're just prone to what they've been taught, what they see, their environment, and is causing a dilemma with our black males because they're becoming what their environment is. And I just believe if we had a better economical system for our black community with great educational background there to support them to be able to get their economical ways together, I think the personal problem with the parenting and the child would be totally different. But that's what we deal with a lot of times. We find that the parents are not as involved and engaged in their life as they should be. We care more for the kids than they do. They drop them off at the front door, they leave them. They don't come inside to see what the program is about. A lot of times they might not even drop them off. They give them a little bit of bus fare and tell them to get there the best way they can. So I think there's a big overall picture that we can't just key in on one point dealing with the dilemma with our young black males in America.
You know, Bishop Campbell, what I'd like to understand, and perhaps you might be able to give us some information in reference to this, do you think it would be cost effective for our governmental officials to provide our young men and women with some kind of employment instead of simply refusing to do anything in that direction? Do you think that that would help us out?
It would help us greatly. You know, being in the faith-based community, we have a saying of what we say is the idle mind is the devil's workshop. And I believe that these young teenagers, our juveniles, had an opportunity of employment, that it would teach them leadership, teach them responsibility, give them a great reference, a great start in their life, to show them that you have to work for what you want and not go out and take it from somebody else or selling to destroy somebody else's life to be able to benefit your own pocket.
What about you, Brother Waller?
Dr. Haney, what I know about the youth and people as a whole in our community,